Oh, come on, guys. Why, whenever I finally take a week off to move, does an iPhone gate thing have to happen? I'm busy, but I gotta make a video now because, well, I have some opinions on it, and might as well strike while the iron's hot. I'm sorry if there's some flubs in this. I'm not scripting this. I'm just giving my general thoughts based on the research I've done and just wanted to talk about it. So yeah, let's dive in. So to catch anybody up who's watching this who doesn't know, Jerry Rig Everything made a video where he went to bend an iPhone 15 Pro Max and the back glass popped when he did that, which hasn't actually happened in other iPhone tests. He's been pretty good about trying to bend these phones and them not breaking, probably because Apple is very much compensating for the iPhone 6 event, the 6 Plus, where they would bend, so they probably never want to relive that again. But with the new iPhone 15 Pro Max, in Jerry Rig Everything's video, he bent it and the back glass popped. That's the extent of it, and a lot of people are saying that this is probably because of the fact that the back glass is now a separate and serviceable component. Now that's true, and Apple actually used the word repairability in one of their keynotes, which never happens, and I think that, yes, the breaking is probably because of the back glass being a separate component now instead of a mainly integral component to the rest of the chassis of the phone. And that, I think, is worth noting just because, yeah, it's going to be potentially more susceptible to putting your fingers in the middle of the back of the phone and pressing out, which the last time I did that on my phone in daily use was never. But there is the possibility that within margin of error, it is a little more fragile in terms of dropping, which is something that can happen within daily use. And if you're like me and you use an iPhone without a case, not so great. But there's been a narrative I've seen a lot of people kind of throwing around, whether they're serious about it or whether they're just kind of throwing it out as a guess, which is that they're trying to tie in the fact that Apple is lowering the cost of back glass repair with the fact that they knew that this new back glass was going to be more susceptible to breaking. But I actually have personal experience with this element of it and why the previous repairs for the back glass of these phones cost so much versus what they cost now. And I figured I'd throw my hat in the ring and talk about that because it's not the narrative that a lot of people are throwing out, which is that Apple knew the glass was going to be more susceptible to damage with this repairable component, so they're charging less for it. It's actually a bit dumber, but also a bit more nuanced than that. See, I used to work for Geek Squad, and Geek Squad was an Apple certified repair center, and we used to repair iPhones all the time. And the way Apple is describing this new glass on the back of their phone is that it is a removable component. Now, people have pointed out that it is serialized, and I think that is super dumb, and I don't think that really any component should be serialized directly to the phone, because that makes repairs a lot harder. It's very anti-consumer, yes. But the back glass is removable now. The previous back glass was not, as a lot of people saw, and for a lot of repair shops, the way to repair back glass was to buy the back glass and then heat the old back glass that was broken and chip it out and remove all the adhesive, and that was the process. But with Apple's method through Geek Squad and their own Apple stores, because, well, any Apple authorized repair center does exactly what the Apple stores do, you actually just replace the whole back of the phone, chassis and all. So the only things that would carry over, at least in my experience, from things like the 14 Pro and the main glass of the front of the 14 Pros, you would end up replacing the back chassis, which included the motherboard, the battery, and the back glass, of course, and then you would move the camera module, I believe the Face ID module, it's been a couple years so I don't fully remember, and the main glass. And I meant to say 13 because that was the last series of phones where I was working with Best Buy and Geek Squad. But you would essentially replace the whole phone. A customer would get their phone back with the back glass repaired, which was just a full phone replacement minus their screen and their camera module and I think Face ID. The phone would be brand new. Like, they'd have a wiped phone at that point. And so, yeah, replacing all those components just for the back glass was going to be expensive. Whereas now, if you can remove the physical glass, you don't have to pay for a motherboard, a battery. You don't have to pay for any of that because you're just replacing the glass. You're not replacing a steel chassis with an entire phone in it minus 3 components. So I mainly just wanted to point that out because I've seen a lot of people saying that they lowered the cost because they knew these phones would be breaking more. That's not the case. I guarantee you it's not the case because, well, glass is cheaper to replace than stainless steel, a bunch of silicon with data and logic on it, and a battery. However, the thing I do find weird, that I'll do another video on at some point, is the whole controversy now going on with the overheating or the extremely hot A17 Pro chip. Now, I'm currently filming on and testing an iPhone 15 Pro Max. I haven't personally run into that issue, but unlike my other videos where I talk about how running these benchmarks and complaining about overheating is ridiculous because it's being done on devices where they're never really intended for that, this is different because, well, they are actively encouraging people to game on their phones and do all this crazy stuff with their phones, and then they're overheating. There's a difference, and that's why I think that this is a bit bigger of a deal than like benchmarking an M2 MacBook Air until it overheats and then complaining about it. That's a video for a different day. I'm not going to really broach that subject in this video other than what I've already said, but I just wanted to talk about that portion of the controversy, the back glass breaking, because yeah, it's a separable component now, and so it's probably more susceptible to, you know, pressing your thumb into the back of the screen and breaking it, which again, I have run into those scenarios never in daily use, so not really realistic. And no, Apple's not lowering the price because they know it's going to break more. They're lowering the price because they're doing a slightly less scummy repair of the back of the phone, which is just replacing the glass and not the entire phone. Anyway, that's about it. I just wanted to make this real quick. Videos should be coming back to normal and not just filmed on my phone. They should be coming back here in probably about a week or so. So enjoy this one while it's here, and I'll see you all for a hopefully pretty in-depth iPhone 15 review, not including bending the back glass. But if you like this video, make sure to like it. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you all once I am moved out of this place and moved into the new one, and hopefully have some pretty nice sets configured for the video. So that's it. I'll see you in the next video.